I'll now invite Professor Raghuram to kindly, present his reflections. Over to you, Professor Raghuram.
Hi, Ashish and all.
Yes.
Am I audible? And
yes, sir.
Yeah?
Clearly.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, good morning to all of you, and really a pleasure to be here in this decennial celebration of what I hope will be a highly sustainable, transport research group or society, or whatever way we see the future. Well, I also recall the 2008 meeting. I was in Guwahati. Of course, I had come in some urban transport something, but I first saw that the small group was a highly technology IIT oriented group. And so, I kind of did a bargain, sat for some time, and in that some time, the young versus old tensions clearly showed up. I know some of the very senior faculty were wondering what is these, youngsters led by Ashish trying to propose something. And I think, there have been other initiatives. I mean, I would recall there was one, I don't know, it still exists as a society. I think there's something called ATDI, Association for Transport Development in India. So anyway, there have been initiatives, but well, I think congratulations to Ashish and the team, for sustaining the energy and actually putting in a lot of energy. In fact, in the first meeting in Bangalore, when it actually happened, and I was seeing the nature of communication, and what took me in was the quality with which it was done. And quality is not just the choice of words or the functionality of the communication for such an event, but the clean editing, highly strictly edited documents. And in India, it's not easy to come by such. So that really took me that there is a lot of thought that's going on behind this. And so at Bangalore, I was very, very comfortable joining, life member, whatever. I thought, whatever, one would like to be part of it and see what happens. So I think this quality in what we do with a focus, and I completely agree with what some others said, that let's keep our focus. Honestly, you see, one of the important things for CTRG, I would say, is governance. And why I reflect on this is, first of all, I'm happy that youngsters took it because I think it needed that kind of energy. Some of us are, highly evolved souls, and, one may not always worry about detail and, all that, which I think is extremely important here. But, I was getting worried. We're going on 6th year, 7th year, 8th, it's all Ashish. I never, explicitly expressed it, though I would have done, Ashish, had it sort of continued in that way, because too many institutions have gone down if it was centered around one person or a small group. Maybe ATDI, just reflecting if there is any lesson from there is also one such. And there so first of all, I'm really happy that somebody else is taking over and driving it now, and welcome Akhilesh. I would also hope, and maybe there is, I would also hope that tenures are brought in line with what similar institutions have now, tenures of the leadership, because it's, sustainability, of course, initially you need energy to sustain, hold on, put it on track. I think we are there. I think we must, we must not only believe we are open, we must actually, like Caesar's wife, come out being open to multiple ideas, multiple perspectives from multiple platforms, all of course connected to transportation. And I would hope Akhilesh and the executive board will keep this in mind. And in fact, I would hope we would have a proper governance document and, the way that we would go forward. This is the right time to really do that. Some of the issues which others have raised, but so I do see this, of course, I myself have studied in IIT and since have been, almost my entire life has gone in working in the transport domain. So I'm very happy to participate wherever. But I think a perception that it is an IIT, NIT, kind of a dominated group. I think there is a lot happening in IIMs. At least I'm familiar with Ahmedabad and Bangalore. And today, if you look at transportation with a slightly broader perspective of logistics and supply chain as an important element, then I think, like IIM Ahmedabad just recently set up a Center for Transportation and Supply Chain Management. IIM Bangalore for many years has a Center for Supply Chain Management. And typically, if I see the OR ops management groups in various IIMs, if I look at what applied research they are doing, invariably they will be doing something related to transportation. Because, transportation offers a nice sort of area to work on. And I think we need to bring that in. We need to tap into it. And we will get different perspectives. I guess schools of planning is another. I think some do participate. Today, there is also a trend of sector-specific institutions. The first of its kind was the Indian Maritime University set up by the Ministry of Shipping. Then the Railways, then Ministry of Civil Aviation has set up the Rajiv Gandhi National Aviation University. Then now Railways have set up the National Rail and Transportation Institute, another university where actually I am now associated as a principal academic advisor and, in whatever way supporting their efforts. And most recently, there is a Gujarat Maritime University set up by the Gujarat Maritime Board, where again I am associated. Actually in Ahmedabad itself, I should speak of a third institution, a private institution set up by the Adani Group, which by the way is making huge inroads into the transport sector, ports and logistics, called the Adani Institute for Infrastructure Management. So in fact, IITs and NITs, transportation may be just one activity, or for IISc or whatever. For these institutions, it is the activity. Their very, existence is because of the transport domain. So I think, we need to sort of leverage that. People talked about government. Definitely. I think, we need to have participants from the government here. While a report or a summary which was talked about, of course, not to discourage it, but I have not seen too much success where groups like this put out some document and then suddenly somebody in government says, wow, here is something. Actually, the way it happens is either participants in the CTRG network get sensitized by the various research and whatever. And so when they participate in policy making, either as an academic in a committee or the very policy makers, if they come to such conferences, they go back with a certain sensitivity. And therefore, when the kind of questions they would ask when they try to formulate policy would become richer, deeper, more rigorous, or they might come back and consult somebody, not necessarily a CTRG but at an individual level, hey, I heard your paper there, that was good, maybe we can talk about it a little more. And I think that's the real value, and we need to sort of ensure that happens. So I think we must go all out, and of course CRRI is a participant. We should, under the Ministry of Commerce right now, there is a new division created called the logistics division, simply with the mission of bringing the various transport ministries to the extent possible on a common platform to think logistics and supply chain and multimodal transport. So, we need to bring such participants in, and I think the opportunity is huge. I think the idea of, maybe awards or, in fact, apart from the December event, maybe a specialized focused event, which I did from your list, I saw around the Foundation Day would be a good idea. I think there is so much to talk about in transportation and the country with the national infrastructure pipeline, and, which is the transport is probably the #1 investment consumer in the country, probably also the #1 where a lot of investment has gone into, assets have gone into problems, and with all this asset reconstruction going on and, whatever, I mean, there's a lot happening in the transport sector where research and policy making and education can help. So, I've seen that we are doing fairly good research in roads, in urban, maybe a little bit in aviation, but I think rail has to come in a big way, much more than, there is a bit metro, but railways. India's #1 logistics organization is the Indian Railways. Maritime has to come in a big way. Just the last month alone, the maritime disasters that have affected India, whether it is Suez or whether it is what happened in Taukte or even in Yas, and then of course coastal inland water transport. I mean, I do see occasionally some papers, but I think, then rural transportation. We have urban, but, are we correspondingly the richness of work in rural transportation? Yeah, I think also getting associated with other transport similar fora. WCTR, I think Ashish is already playing a role. In fact, Ashish, thanks to the visibility, he's now editing the WCTR newsletter. I think the first issue came out, right, Ashish, where there was also a sort of remembrance of Professor Dinesh Mohan,
yeah,
and who also we lost due to COVID. And then, we have an annual, if I'm not mistaken, urban transport do, which happens, and huge, very significant participation. So, like CTRG has a presence in WCTR, I think we can have presence there, and and I think that's another way to sort of build strength and the brand and the presence. So yeah, these were my thoughts, and I really, think we've come very well. In fact, the website, I'm happy to see that the website is constant updation. I already see Akhilesh's message in the website. Wonderful. And Akhilesh, wish you all the best. And please keep in mind that we need to draw in, the more ideas, the more sort of platforms that come in, it will really do well for transportation. So finally, let me just end on the way I like to look at challenges in transportation, especially in the Indian context. One is speed. Obviously, we need more speed, whether it is high-speed rail or 4-laning or expressways or, I mean, we need to fundamental aspiration, get from anywhere to anywhere faster. But of course, along with that comes safety. Right? Safety is such an important issue, and more so in India. I mean, it's not that we have high speeds, but the Indian roads, the damage they do to lives and injuries in India. Security, extremely important. The way, whether it is for airlines or the way trucks sometimes vanish, goods get stolen. And then we need stresslessness. We need drivers to be at the end of a journey, not to be stressed out. passengers not to be stressed out, goods not to be stressed out, vehicles not to be stressed out, assets, roads not to be stressed out. And of course, finally, sustainability, right? I mean, the whole climate impact and, EVs, and whether battery is going to be the biggest constraint, or whether the chemicals in the battery will be the, the new gold, the new oil, and, all this. I mean, it's really wonderful. And I put this in my own mind as 5 S's of transportation. And, with just that thought, let me wish you all very well. And I look forward to participating in all the activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Raghuram.